our power, whatever we have, to fight injustice in this city. We have to figure out what the unjust systems are, and we have to work against them. We have to somehow actively get after that stuff. And we, as a church and as individuals, have to somehow find a way of providing immediate aid to the people who are in immediate need. Does that make sense? We've got to figure out a way of doing that. In fact, we're working right now on trying to develop a core leadership team for something that we're calling Local Peace. And Local Peace is about us trying to do the things Jesus did for the people in this city. And I'll admit, we need some leadership for that. I've talked to a few people who are going to be involved in this thing, but we need some more leadership for that. And if you want to be part of that, put a mark on your card and say, I'm going to come to the next meeting as soon as we can get one organized. And say, I want to be part of that, because we as a church and as people have got to be part of that stuff. Why? Because if we do, our light will break forth like the dawn. And God will say, here am I. And the city will say, you're the people who fix things. A couple suggestions. I mentioned the marking your card, a couple more things to do. I want to encourage you every Sunday to bring your heart to worship. To bring your heart to this place and say, I'm going to give everything I got. I'm going to encourage you, if you haven't done it yet, if you haven't made a commitment yet, to stretch yourself all the way to that biblical 10% tithe standard of saying, I'm going to give God the first 10% of my money. Why? Not because the lights need it, but because people need it. And because God is going to do something by bringing people under these lights so they can hear the message of Jesus who loves them. I'm going to encourage you, if you haven't ever done it before, to start a generosity savings account. I've been whipped to shreds by Isaiah 58 over the last couple of days, and so I'm going to go home and I'm going to look at my finances. I'm going to do a real hard-nosed look at them, and I'm going to create a savings account that in my family is just going to be for generosity purposes. And I'm going to put money in there, and if someone asks me for something, if they say, hey, I need some help, I probably shouldn't have told you that. I'm going to have that money already set aside that I can help people. Does that make sense? No longer is it going to be one of these things where I just use the excuse, oh, I don't have any money, while the next day I'm eating, right? If I didn't have any money, I wouldn't have any food, but I do have food, must have come from somewhere because I didn't grow it. Finally, I want to ask you purely to do the easiest thing possible, and that's to pay attention to our Facebook page. Do you realize last week there was a person who had a notice on their Facebook page? It was a young lady who needed a place to stay for a few nights at least while she was figuring out some things with her family. And it wasn't going to work out for us to be able to let her stay with us, and I don't actually know where she ended up staying, but we put that on our Facebook page, and I don't know if anybody really ever saw that or decided to take any action about it, but we've got to get better at that. We've got to get better at that kind of stuff, to be people who are ready to say, okay, I have no idea what this situation is, but I'm going to just jump on into it and do something about it. So this is what I want us to do. We've only got one song to close out our service today. And so I want to ask you just right now to bow your heads and to if you want to just have your eyes closed and be in a prayerful attitude, you can. If you want to pull out your Connect card and jot some things down on that Connect card, you can. But I want you to just seriously spend some time with God and say, God, what do I need to be doing? What do I need to be doing with my money? What do I need to be doing with my time? What do I need to be doing with my attention? Jot down some of those ideas. We're going to pray for you if you say, God, I want to do something. If you say today, I want to make that 10% money commitment, then we're going to pray for you about that. Because the promise of the Bible is if I pour myself out to others, God pours himself out to me. Let's take a few moments, then I'll pray for our offering, and then we'll sing our final song.